As always, today's episode of the Band Directors Bistro is proudly sponsored by ironsmusic.com.
For music educators on the go, this is the Band Directors Bistro.
Hi, I'm Mark,
And I'm John.
and we'd like to welcome you to the Band Directors Bistro.
A historic Band Directors Bistro today. Let's not forget that.
That's right. Today is a first. Today's episode on the Band Directors Bistro is going to be all about springing back, falling forward. While we're getting your favorite table ready, John is going to tell you what we have on the menu for you today.
Today's menu is a special one because it's historic. Our appetizer, magnificently marbled meats. And we're going to meet our guest today. Our main course, mighty Muenster mac. It really is yummy. And we're going to talk about the ramifications of switching around your fall and your spring season. I know that sounds weird, but we're going to get into it and you'll understand. Finally, our dessert, mint marmalade muffins. Today's going to be part one of a continuing series about this question. What's it like to have your child in your program? And again, we're going to feature our guest on that. That's our menu today. It's a yummy one. Stick around for it.
It looks like your table is ready. Right this way. Ladies and gentlemen, as we approach our table, I can see our guest has already arrived. He's already at his favorite spot in the bistro. It is my pleasure to introduce everybody to Mr. Antonio Castro.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome, sir. Glad to have you.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you on the program, Tony. You are our first guest. And as our first guest, Tony, we would love for you to just introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us how long you've been involved in music education. And our guests already know that John and I are proud Santa Clara alumni, but I know that you are also a proud Santa Clara alumni. And
Exactly.
if you could go through your background with Santa Clara as well, that would be awesome.
Okay, so my name is Antonio Castro. I'm the director of bands at Schurr High School. I've been there now for 18 years. This is going to be my 18th year. Prior to that, I was a middle school director in San Gabriel, California. And prior to that, I was just a college kid. I graduated from Schurr High School, and I continued my studies at Pasadena City College and Cal State Los Angeles. The Sacramento Freelancers used to send a bus down to LA. So I marched 2 years there, and then unfortunately that corps folded. And later on, I got a phone call from Debs, and Debs said, "Hey, you got to move up right now, though." I said, "I can't. I'm in school." And like, "Okay, well, good luck to you." I said, "Okay, thank you. Good luck to you guys too." And the next, like a week later, Dave Carrico called me from the Santa Clara Vanguard and said, "Hey, we got a spot. We hear you know how to play. And would you like to come up?" And I said, I can see where this is going, but I've got school. But Vanguard had a different approach slightly. I said, "Yeah, of course. School's important. You let us know when you can make it up to the next camp." Now, I don't know if that was their approach or if they were just desperate for contra players, and that's what I needed to do. Joined around February, and I marched 95, and I marched 96. I aged out in 96. Then I auditioned for the Magic Kingdom Corps, and I was an alternate. I was a substitute for two amazing players at Disney. And I got to march a couple of shows there, and I'll tell you, After performing in front of thousands of people, there was no more exhilarating performance gig and performance venue than performing at Disneyland in front of like the right 1,000 people that are right in front of you. It was really cool.
Up close and personal. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that August, though, I had already made plans to go out and watch a lot of my friends age out, because I was, I aged out in 96. I marched with a bunch of people that aged out in 97. And while I was there, I was, working on the food truck and pushing the pit out for the shows and just being general support staff. I mean, I didn't, I talked to J-Dub and said, hey, I just want to help out. It's like, yeah, we'll pick you up and we'll take you back to the school and we'll find you something to do. It's great. So it was exciting to see all my friends. And while I was there, the caption head at the time, Dean Westman, asked me what my plans were and, what am I music ed major? Am I still studying, this and that? What are my plans for next year? So I pretty much, told him, yeah, man, this is what I'm doing. The summers are my summers are open. I'd be able to go an entire tour. It's like, okay, we'll give you a call. Well, next thing you know, I'm at the audition camp as the contra tech. I was the contra tech there from 98 through 2002. And that was probably my best. That's not to take away from anything I learned from Pasadena or Cal State LA, but my hands-on experience with the Vanguard, learning about ensemble, learning about pacing, learning about professional etiquette, rehearsal etiquette, protocols, procedures, logistics, transportation, all that stuff, getting like right in the thick of it. That was a really invaluable part of my music education career, and learning how to be the person that can solve problems on the fly. I had great mentors: Dean Westman, Jed Weeks, Bill Watson, Rick Valenzuela, JW. And so after that, I pretty much that, and then I started teaching. So then I started teaching middle school, started teaching high school, and that's who I am.
We are so excited to have you, Tony, and I'm excited to announce to our audience that the knowledge and wisdom that Tony Castro brings is going to keep going here on the Bistro, because Tony is now an executive producer here on the Bistro, and we are going to bring him in more often. This is going to open up a number of different avenues for us, allow us to do more recordings for you, ladies and gentlemen. We want to provide as much content as we can, as often as we can, and by adding Tony to our team, that's one of the things that we're going to be able to do. So welcome, Tony, aboard, and we are so excited to have you.
Aye, Captain.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be aboard.
Well, it's nice to have somebody around who really knows what they're doing. So unlike Mark and I.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't know about all that, but I'll give you the best I've got.
That's all we ask. That's good enough.
That's all we can ask. Oh, look, you guys. The mighty Muenster Mac has arrived. It smells delicious. The cheese looks...
Muenster
it's
cheese
definitely
is
not
actually a
just
great cheese.
Muenster
Oh,
cheese. This has got some depth, it's got some more elasticity to it. Oh, I love it.
Is the more of a dominant idea. Yeah. Great mix with macaroni. Yeah, well, let's talk a bit about this fall spring season thing. And I know that when we first brought that up at the beginning of the episode, a lot of you are probably thinking, what are they talking about? Let's get into that a bit, because it's an important subject, and it's going to affect what you do with your group this year. In Southern California, we already know that there is going to be a switch around as far as normally traditional fall sports being transferred or moved into the spring because of COVID-19. And so think about that for a second. We're talking about the typical fall football season that we all know and love. And all of a sudden that's going to be in the spring when flowers start to grow again. Now we got football in the spring. So what are you going to do as a band director? Are you going to have a spring marching band? Are you going to keep it the way it is right now? These are things you need to think about, and we're going to talk about them here.
That's right. Normally that list of fall sports and spring sports are on 2 separate pieces of paper, and they fill up each one of those papers. But now it's going to be 1.6 font. All of the sports that you can think of are going to be in the same season, including football, which means when there's a football game happening, there is a large population out there that believes the marching band has to be there. Not just in the stands, on the field, performing at halftime.
Doing something.
And this is going to provide both some challenges, but it's also going to provide some opportunities. So I don't think, as a band director, you should necessarily look at this as the sky is falling. Look at it as a chance to really do something different and have some fun with it.
Right.
And Tony right now is a current band director in Southern California, and he is grappling with this decision because CIF, our main sports authority, has told all the high schools that yes, indeed, football is happening, and it's going to happen in the spring. So Antonio, Mr. Castro.
So question for Tony.
Are you one of those band directors who's pulling out your hair? Are you still figuring it out? Do you have a plan? Let us. What are you doing right now?
Okay, so right now, we've been on a holding pattern for so long now that I check in with the students every once in a while. I mean, normally we're already halfway into summer rehearsals. We're about to start our preseason, or what most programs call band camp, and none of that's happening. None of that is happening at all, and it's heartbreaking for the seniors. It's super confusing for the freshmen, the incoming freshmen that are coming in. The juniors and sophomores are all just excited to be a part of it and help out and just get back into the room. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen for a while. I think our biggest challenges are like you said. I'm not trying to find out too many answers for my administration at this point, because my administration's got enough to worry about.
And it keeps changing.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
They will say one thing one day, and it will change the next day.
Correct.
So it's really hard to keep up with it, and it's almost like you just need to take everything with a huge grain of salt until you
absolutely
see like that official stamp, and even then you have to question it, right?
Now, yes, and now here's some of the other things that this changes from program to program. Okay, I've got a great support system with my district. I've got 2 other directors, actually 4 other directors that I keep in close contact with at all times. One of them is my feeder, and the other is a choir director right next to me, and the other 2 are the other 2 high school band directors in the district. And the 5 of us, we use each other for venting. We use each other to bounce ideas off. We take recommendations from each other. It's a really good support system. And the way we're looking at it right now, and see, here's the thing: I have a larger program. In our area, I have a larger program. What would be considered a larger program? I still have a drill team.
Go ahead and give us some numbers, Tony, so that our
I'd say
listeners can have some context.
Well, about 167. That's just outside LA, in Montebello. I have 167. That includes
very big program.
That also includes a drill team.
On the higher side of average.
It also includes
absolutely, yeah.
With all the blessings that comes with it, also comes with challenges. The challenges being that if I say something and broadcast it out, I'd rather not have to walk back 167 conversations.
Correct.
So I'd rather just wait. And because I've obviously, after 17 years, I've made statements out there that I've had to walk back, and it is not fun. I'm just like, you put out one thing, and then, if heaven forbid, you put out 2 emails with contrasting or conflicting information, because then they don't know which one to believe. So I'd rather wait, take my cues from my administration, and then just go from there. And be excited about it. No matter what it is, be excited about it. Because I don't want to say, yeah, we're going to do this, and then, yeah, we're not doing that. And so that's, I don't necessarily want to take that route. I'd rather be of the mindset of, okay, we're going to be like Andy's toys. You might not use us all the time, but we're going to be there when you're ready. That's it. That's all there is to it. And that seems to be the one philosophy that my juniors are buying. Well, now they're my seniors, so my seniors are buying into now. And they're ready to go. They're really we've already gone through all our leadership interviews and applications. So I've got a strong leadership chomping at the bit to get started in our season. And then, but I don't want to be the one to say, well, that was a waste of time because we are not going to. No, we have new challenges ahead of us. Now, flipping those seasons like we talked about. Well, here's how we're going to try to approach it as of today. As of July 26th is how we're going to approach it today. We're going to go virtual for the first semester. Now, what does that mean for us? We're probably going to work on fundamentals. We're probably going to work on easy solo literature, maybe some small duets and small chamber stuff, work on their ensemble stuff. And then if we can, we'll do a larger ensemble production of, say, like the Star Spangled Banner, the Alma Mater, some of the fight songs, and have those in the pipe ready to go. Because just because football season's starting in December or January doesn't mean that the band's going to be there. We don't know what the rules are going to be. We don't know what audiences are going to be allowed to do. We don't know what type of social distancing there's going to be. So, but we'll have the band there because I'll put up a virtual recording of everything.
There are probably going to be some virtual pep rallies. And so it would really be smart, Tony, right, for you directors out there to start thinking about what kind of content are you going to be able to just
virtual
send
rallies,
your
yeah.
athletics director, your activities director, and say, well, here's the fight song, here's the national anthem, here's the Hey song, and you use that however you want. Seeing all these virtual concerts. While you're doing those, go ahead and say, all right, everybody, let's pull up number 1, number 2, and number 3.
We did that. I started working on as for fun for last year's graduation. I recorded, we put together, and I had a friend from alumni come and help me cut and edit and balance it out and mix it, was our alma mater and our fight song. And I had those playing on speakers as our virtual graduation ended and they drove out. I set up speakers towards the exit of the parking lot to play the alma mater and the fight song on a loop. And it came out really good. I was really impressed with how it came out, actually. And normally, for a normal graduation, that's what we do. It's the last things we play. Well, this was on a constant loop for 7 hours as everybody went through, and it was kind of fun.
Let's assume, for just the sake of this episode and our conversation, that your city, your school district, the local athletic conference is going to do, let's assume that they're going to do a spring football season. And if that's going to happen, and let's assume that things are back, quote unquote, to normal, where you're back in school with your students, things like that. At that point, doing spring marching band, how do you feel about that? Is that something that you find distracting, or just go with the flow, or an exciting opportunity? Yeah. How do you look at it?
John, it's a great question because we still have several options on the table. 2 years ago, we did the indoor sound sport. We did the indoor stuff like that, and we were excited about that. And we actually, we actually earned a couple of first place, banners and stuff, and we were very successful there. So we were excited to do that. Well, they pulled the plug that last year, and all of a sudden we didn't have it. But I have a strong feeling, and I'm hoping, and if anyone's listening, that our winter guard circuits and our drumline circuits will start opening up that venue to have more indoor wind programs and indoor wind competitions, because I think it's just a great outlet for it. Will we? Right. I would love to take a part in it, but I just, there's so many things that I have planned, but I refuse to spend any money on.
I understand,
and I think that's the goal.
I've got a follow-up question for you, okay? When you brought up WGI, this is an interesting potential conundrum here. Now, again, based on that assumption that your school district city has a spring football season, and also based on the assumption that things are back to normal, one would also assume that WGI would be up and running again as for winter guard and percussion. Now, if there's a spring football season, those two could potentially conflict. And so at that point, as a band director, do you put a priority one over the other, or try to balance them? It all depends on how weekends get set up and if facilities are even available, you know, because that's going to be the other thing for each school. If you've got now both fall and spring sports practicing together, it's going to be tough to go ahead and get enough practice fields for everybody who needs them, which includes the marching band. So that's why there's so many little wheels here that are rolling.
I have put the competitive aspect of our activity on the far, far back burner. I'm focusing on music. I'm focusing on fundamentals. I'm focusing on what I can control. I've already spoken to several of my coaches, and we're all against having Zoom rehearsals. We're all against having,
of course.
It's not ideal, but I don't think the investment is worth the return on something like WGI, or I think everything should stay local. Plus, just finding facilities that are willing to host, that's going to be a nightmare. I don't see that happening anytime soon. As it is, I took a look at the CIF calendar of what it's going to look like in Southern California, or what it's going to look like in California. And we're talking multiple sporting events within the same week that normally have a pep band of some sort to play along with them. I honestly think that it wouldn't necessarily be a show or a field show. I think it would be a lot of support. I think it would be a lot of standing in the stands and playing pep tunes.
Right.
Once again, I'm blessed with a large program. I think I might be splitting the band up into 2 to possibly 3 different pep bands, as long as they have equal instrumentation. And so Band A is going to do Band A is going to go do the basketball game on Tuesday. Band B is going to go do the football game on Friday. Band C is going to do the basketball game that's concurrently going at the same time on Friday, and have it run. Have my drum majors run when I can't be there, and do. I mean, it's going to be crazy. This is all assuming that it's back to quasi normal.
Correct.
I don't know how any of this is going to work, but a lot of it is a conversation I need to have with my principal to see what her expectations are, and to see what the athletic director would like to see, and talk to my coaches. My coaches are super supportive of my school. My coaches and I, we get along really, really well. And they also know that, I bring, with my program, I bring an energy and a spirit to the room. I bring an audience. We're a large program, so I fill up a chunk of the gym and a chunk of the stands in the stadium. But it's also a safety's got to come first, and I totally agree with that.
Of course.
If we have to send virtual pep tunes, we will. But it's going to be one of those things where it's up in the air. We'll see what we can, but we're going to be prepared for all of it.
I think music educators, we oftentimes get so caught up in the competitive aspect that this is really a great time for us to really recalibrate and to consider what our priorities are as music educators. And those priorities will really come through and shine through. And of course, fundamentals, all those great things that are gonna build the foundations of your program, of your students' learning. Those are things that really you can, instead of rushing through those things like we normally have to do in a fall so that we can put on a spring season. Now that we're going to be online, take this opportunity to really lay a strong foundation.
Opa!
Opa!
That was great.
Love it.
Fantastic.
Oh my goodness, guys.
Thank God we got a budget
you know
for
what that
broken
sound
dishes.
means. You know what that
Dessert.
sound means, ladies and gentlemen? It's dessert time. And boy, do we have a dessert for you today. I am so excited about this next part of our program. Way more excited than I would ever be about mint marmalade muffins. And it's a thing. We look
Hey, they sound pretty good, actually. Come
anything
on.
into a marmalade. Yeah.
That's true. No, actually, the dessert is a great subject today because it is more common than I ever even realized. And so I think it's a very appropriate subject. And it's an appropriate subject regardless of COVID-19 or normal times. So our dessert today, and Tony,
That's right.
Tony, we're going to ask you to kind of take the lead on this one again, because you're this is actually happening for you. So here's the question, and just kind of talk about it.
So the context here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are going to be revisiting this question because right now, Mr. Antonio Castro's daughter is going to be a freshman in the program. So we decided, because we are going to be with you, ladies and gentlemen, for years to come, and we want to ask Tony a series of questions that we will then keep asking him periodically over the next 4 years.
We'll revisit the question. Yes, right.
That's right. And we want to see how these answers fluctuate and change and grow and morph over time. And right now, some of these questions are in the future, Tony. So you're going to have to forgive the context a little bit. And the other thing that we need you to do as a producer on the Bistro is we need you to record your daughter answering these questions periodically as well. So today is July 26th as we record this for the very first time. That's right, 2020, because we are going to be doing this hopefully until 2024 if she stays in the program, right, Tony? So
the overall concept here is asking Mr. Castro, Antonio, what's it like to have your child in your program? And then we've got 3 sub-questions. And again, some of these are going to be more for the future, some are for right now. Question number 1 for you, Antonio. What takes priority, being a parent or being a director?
Being a parent, first and foremost, absolutely is the priority, at least between the relationship between me and my daughter. But I will say that this isn't. This is an awesome opportunity for you to, as a parent. And I'm literally. I look to my guru of parent teaching their kids, Chris Mora. Chris Mora taught 2 of his kids. He's a director up in San Jose, and he taught 2 of his kids that were in the program. Another
person we must have on the program.
Absolutely,
Tony.
I know Chris Mora.
That's one of your first gigs. Yeah, that's
right. Done. And what is really cool is, we've talked about it before, and he said, it's all in your approach. I mean, if you're hesitant about it, that's going to read. If you're excited about it, that's going to read too. And so I've been excited. Ever since my daughter was younger, I always said she can play whatever she wants to play. She can do whatever she wants to do. And I never pushed her towards one instrument or the other. Eventually, she wanted to play trumpet like her godfather, who was Mr. Rico at Bell Gardens High School. And I just said, okay, all right, there it is, done. And so we invested and got her. But she was also a member of the color guard. She loves color guard. She's really good. She was an 8th grader and she was tossing quads. And I was like, I was never this good at anything when I was in 8th grade.
Wow.
And she enjoys it. She loves it. She loves a weapon. She loves rifle. She hasn't been introduced to saber yet, but she just is really, really cool and loves the group and loves the ensemble. But she was also her trumpet section leader at her middle school. So we've made kind of a deal that she can do both, if possible. She can do both, and where she would focus on one during the fall and focus on maybe doing both concert and winter guard if those seasons happen. Right at this point, there's very little to do, so she has her trumpet out, and every once in a while and plays that.
Got it.
And I keep her on her toes. Hey, play that Clark study, and she'll come up. Am I done? Yeah, okay, fine. But she's got just an intuitive ability to pick it up and kind of remember. Her chops need training, and it gets better. But I really enjoy the fact that she can do both. But absolutely, being a father first. And her father happens to be a music teacher, so I can give her that extra. But being a band director, definitely come in second when it comes to my daughter.
Okay. Fair enough. I would expect that answer. Now, this next question is something that might be difficult to answer now because you haven't really had the in-class experience with her yet. But I'll ask. But think about this one. Do you place unfair or unreasonable expectations on your child in your program?
That's a great question, and I'm excited to see what happens because we have some time, luckily, before that situation happens, because we're not going to be in the classroom for a while. But I will say that when we first started out, and she picked up an instrument, and she was learning the basics and stuff, I resisted teaching her. I resisted helping her out. I resisted a lot of things because I wanted her to have a normal at-home me and my instrument experience. When she would ask for help, I would flip on the band director switch. She didn't like that because I was not Daddy anymore. I was Mr. Castro, and we actually had a conversation about that. There needs to be a line between you want Dad to help you or do you want Mr. Castro to help you. Mr. Castro will make you better. Dad will make you feel better. And after a while, she said, no, I want Mr. Castro. I'm like, all right, well then stop complaining and practice and do what I'm asking you to do. Because she thought I was picking on her every time I criticized what she could do better. And so for a while, I said, I don't want to teach this kid music. I would rather her go get lessons because if not, I thought at the time I'd be jeopardizing my relationship as a father rather than as a teacher. But no, we've come to an agreement. And you know what? That was probably a mistake on my part, thinking that she wouldn't be able to distinguish the difference. And she can. She's a bright, young, intelligent woman. And I think that she's going to be able to be fine with her instrument and me as her director. And I think we can separate between Mr. Castro and Dad.
We as adults so often underestimate the intelligence and ability of those age groups. And so, I've learned these days that 9 to 12-year-old students, they might be 9 to 12 years old, but they're capable of understanding a lot more than we ever thought possible. And it gets even more pronounced as they get older as well. So obviously you've seen that. Now, one more question for you. And again, this is something you probably can't answer now, but it's a good one to think about. And here it is. What is the best and worst part about having your child in your program?
The best part is I got to spend more time with her. She's been I've been an absentee father for so long when it comes to our programs, and I'm sure any father that's a band director can understand this. You know, we're gone every Saturday. Friday nights and Saturdays are gone especially if you're a high school competitive marching band director. And that's part of the reason why she actually opted to switch schools and switch districts so she'd be a part of my program, so she'd be a part of, and we'd have more time together. So that's one thing. The other thing, and that's a cool part. That's a really cool part. The other thing is, I feel that I might, and not by any doing of my own, or not because I'm trying to do this, but I just don't want to affect her having just a normal high school life. I don't want her to feel like I'm always looking over her shoulder, always judging her and what she's doing. I'm going to be on her about her classes and her academics, but I mean, some of the things that were regarding, just being a normal teenager and having friends and making mistakes and falling down and but getting back up. And I got to be there for her when she makes those mistakes and let her make those mistakes so she can learn from them. I think that's, I'm sorry, but I don't envy any guy that tries to befriend my daughter, and that's gonna be difficult when I have a reputation. I don't know why, but I have a reputation at the high school. Everyone knows that I command respect in the school, and I work really hard at my job. So it's probably gonna be an intimidating situation on many levels. But I guess that would be
always a boy out there though that will just disregard that too. There's going to be some
a brave soul.
A brave soul, yes.
Well, it makes me think, Tony, as you were talking about question number 2 with the expectations, you said something that made me think that there's going to be filters, multiple layers of filters with her and with you, because she's going to hear things that you say to the band, and she's going to know deeper context behind that stuff. Right? And then you're going to hear her say stuff, and you're obviously going to have deeper context. So I think you have a real opportunity to use her in a way to be able to tap into these next 4 years in a way that you really never had, like almost like that undercover agent, but, you know, as your daughter.
Yeah,
And that's going to be very interesting because you want to keep that trust, right? But
Sure.
at the same time, you are going to know stuff about your band that you probably never knew
I will
before
have,
because your daughter's in the program.
you know, I will probably have that barometer planted into the program, but I do not want to take advantage of that. I think I want to. I've been doing this long enough that I can kind of feel the need for the program. And if she ever wants to talk to me about issues, I'm open. But because you know, large program has, you know, its fair amount of drama, and here side story. Even though she's an incoming freshman, she was already part of the Winter Guard program last year as an 8th grader, and she actually went to Rome with us 2 years ago, and
Wow.
And was a part of the program in the parade, and had, so she's grown up with my program. She's entering her freshman year with a ton of friends and a lot of older brothers and sisters that are already going to be looking out for her. So that's another interesting thing too. And like I said, I would rather her enjoy being a high school student without her father present every minute of the day, and I'll find out the stuff through other sources. You know, obviously if things get so deep that I need to ask her questions about what does she know about what's going on, but other than that, I really don't want to utilize that. I want her to enjoy high school. I want her to be successful in high school. I want her to be successful in either trumpet or guard or both, and then make it an enjoyable experience rather than have an anxiety about her dad being there every second of the day.
You know, there is one thing I am surprised at, that she didn't choose to play tuba, because that's your instrument, you know.
you know, and when she was a kid, she actually I would have my mouthpiece in the center console, and I would hand her my mouthpiece, and we would sing songs, and she would buzz along. She had pretty good buzz on a tuba mouthpiece. I was very, very impressed. And she used to say that she wanted to play tuba. Used to, yeah. And then I remember this. I took her to her godfather's master's recital, and he went off that night. He was amazing that night, and I think that might have sealed the deal for her playing trumpet.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. So, Tony, those were wonderful, wonderful, thoughtful answers. And again, we're going to revisit those questions 6 months, a year down the line, and it's going to be interesting to see how the questions or how the answers are modified or updated as time goes on. So this is going to be fascinating.
I agree.
I'm sure we'll come
I'm curious
up
as
with,
to the evolution of those answers as well.
Right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we know just how busy you are as music educators, and we want to thank you for stopping by the bistro and hanging out with John, Antonio, and myself today. It has been truly our pleasure. Tony, thank you so much for being our very first guest here on the bistro. It was an amazing experience for both John and I. I think we are definitely ready to have more guests here on the bistro, and I'm excited to share this with the world, because this is a big step for us here in season 3, episode 4, guest number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next time.
My honor.
Once again, my name's Mark.
I'm John.
And this has been the Band Directors Bistro. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
See you next time.
For music educators on the go, this is the Band Directors Bistro.